Welcome to Big Boy 4014 Productions. So funny, those guys. Hello, guys. As a disclaimer and warning, this video is based off of a series that I decided to recreate for some reason. The YouTuber is, hold on. Oh, God. There's so many letters. I forgot the name. But I swear, I will put it in the description. My two Thomas will explain and stuff. Please support them and do not get mad at me for any copying or copyright or whatever that means. Please support the original videos because I already got in trouble twice by not making them known. I'm probably not gonna upload this video, I think, but if you're listening to this, I actually upload it. But if it's in a few years, I might have deleted it because stuff. YouTube really sucks. Anyways, let's get to Jimmy the Gentee.
Jimmy and the Irish Mail. One summer's evening, when all the drivers and firemen were clocking off one by one and the engines returning home, Jimmy sat in the sheds daydreaming. He woke suddenly when Terry steamed in. "All right there, Jimmy," smiled Terry. "Oh, I'm all right," replied Jimmy. "Just daydreaming." "About what?" asked Terry. It had always been Jimmy's dream to pull an important train along the main line, even if it was just for a short while. He just wanted to be able to say that he did it. He was one of those engines who think nothing of it as they pull a passenger train out with ease. Terry kindly listened to his friend. "It's nothing special, really. Most of the time it's stressful," Terry said with experience. "But it would feel special to me," said Jimmy eagerly. As Jimmy began telling Terry how he felt on top of the world when he successfully pulled William's commuter train when he was trapped by broken points, they hadn't noticed who else was in the sheds. Den was lingering at the back of the sheds. He had delivered some new equipment and tools for the sheds. Den couldn't help listening in and eventually barging in. "You pull a train," he exclaimed. "What a load of you pull a train," he exclaimed. "What a load of nonsense. You're just a shunter." "And so are you," retorted Jimmy. "Yes, but I know my place in the diesel world," hissed Den. "Trust a steam locomotive to have ideas above his station." "You're really starting to wind me up," grunted Terry. Den felt his cue to leave and quickly scurried away. Jimmy felt very disheartened. Terry took it upon himself to comfort the little tank engine as Ivert, Robin and Arthur rolled in. "Evening, Mickey," teased Robin. Ivert chuckled. He hadn't laughed at his nickname like that for quite some time. Arthur was puzzled. "Who's Mickey?" he asked. "That's our nicknames," began Ivert. "Our classes were nicknamed Mickey," he asked. "That's our nicknames," began Ivert. "Our classes were nicknamed Mickey Mouses because we're small, lightweight, and set up as quickly as a mouse. Or a robin in my case," added Robin. "It makes us perfect for passenger work." The talk of passenger trains displeased Jimmy, and he quietly slunk into the shed. "Is there anything wrong with Jimmy?" noticed Arthur. Terry explained to Arthur why Jimmy looked a little down. Terry seemed concerned, but Arthur smiled. "Leave it to me, my good chap," he puffed grandly. "I'll see to it that Jimmy pulls his train." Terry thought they should tell the shedmaster, but was convinced not to say a word, and no more was said about the situation. The next day, Jimmy had shunted the same usual passenger trains that left at 10 o'clock on the dot. As they steamed out, they all looked confident and inspiring. His driver driver reassured him. "Jimmy, without you, important trains like the Midday Scot or the Mancunian would never depart on time. You are essential to the railway. You know more about coaches than any other engine. That's something to be proud of," said the driver. Jimmy beamed brightly, and with that he went to collect more coaches. Later that day, coaches for the Irish Mail were ready to board. Jimmy's patience was soon tested. Den growled in with a pair of new coaches. "Look at me," he shouted, "I'm pulling a train." Den had been ordered to take the coaches for a test run to see if they ran smoothly over point work. Jimmy noticed there were no passengers on board. He soon chuckled loudly. "Some train that is, no one's even on it," he chortled. Trust a diesel locomotive to have ideas above his station. Jimmy steamed triumphantly to the sheds. When he arrived at the sheds, there was trouble. "Arthur, trust a diesel locomotive to have ideas above his station." Sheds, there was trouble. Arthur, who was meant to take the Irish Mail, wasn't working properly. For some strange reason, whenever the driver tried to open the regulator, Arthur wouldn't move. The men scratched their heads. "It beats me," sighed the driver. "Oh, Arthur, you couldn't have picked a better moment," grumbled the shedmaster. "I've got no other engines for the Irish Mail." What about Jimmy over there?" puffed Arthur cheekily. The shedmaster ran across to Jimmy. He spoke to his driver. "Do you think Jimmy can take the Irish Mail if he double heads with another engine?" he asked. "I'm sure of it," replied the driver. "But for how long?" "Only until the first station. Terry's bringing a passenger train in at the junction. We'll be able to change locos then." "Well, Jimmy, looks like your dream of pulling an important passenger train is going to happen after all," exclaimed the driver. As the shedmaster climbed up onto the footplate, Jimmy was so proud he wanted to let off steam with excitement, but knew he didn't have time for that and hurried to the station. Arthur was left at the sheds with a huge smile on his face. "Why are you so happy?" asked a fitter. "Oh, you'll see," said Arthur proudly. Arthur was left at the sheds with a huge smile on his face. Arthur proudly. Jimmy coupled up in front of Ivan, who was to assist Jimmy with the express. Ivan looked a little worried. "Do you think we'll be able to pull this one off?" whispered Ivan. "Of course. With your speed and my know-how of coaches, we'll be able to do this," Jimmy wished. "I've been waiting for this day for ever such a long time." The shedmaster gave some advice to the two tank engines. "This isn't going to be easy. Take your time when departing, and on the long straight, give it all you've got," announced the shedmaster. "Do exactly what your drivers ask of you to do, and no record breaking. I want you both home in one piece." The engines smiled. "Terry will be waiting for you at the first station, so don't worry about keeping time. He'll make up for it later." With morale boosted, the engines were ready. The station master wasn't pleased to have two tank engines pulling an express train, but even he had to admit they looked a fine sight. The headboard was placed on Jimmy's lamp iron, and the two were raring to go. When the guard blew his whistle, the two engines struggled to get out of the station. They slipped, but recovered, and soon the train was underway. The shedmaster watched proudly as they departed. Jimmy and Ivor thundered along the line. Children waved in surprise to see the unusual motive power pulling the express. Jimmy was overjoyed. His driver was very proud of him. Jimmy unusual motive power pulling the express. Jimmy was overjoyed. His driver was very proud of him. Sadly, it came to an end. As they arrived at the first station, the tank engines were taken off the train, motive power pulling the express. Jimmy was overjoyed. His driver was very proud of him. Sadly, it came to an end. As they arrived at the first station, the tank engines were taken off the train. Terry ran round and coupled up. Ivor was then attached to Terry's passenger train. With all the commotion going on, the crew forgot to place a headboard on Terry. The Irish mail swiftly departed, followed by Ivor. As Jimmy reversed into the platform, he waited for a free road. The driver got out and congratulated his engine. "You've done me proud, Jimmy," he beamed. "You were splendid flying along the line." Jimmy just smiled. He was overcome by it all and couldn't say a word. The driver pointed to the headboard. "You more than deserve to keep that on," he smiled. Jimmy wished Den had been here to see everything. The signal changed, and Jimmy set off for home. Late that evening, Arthur crawled into the sheds. Terry had returned home with the express. Jimmy was fast asleep with Ivor. They were both exhausted. "Where have you been?" wondered Terry. "Oh, just to the workshop," replied Arthur. "What was wrong with you?" Terry ventured further. "Oh, nothing really. Funny thing was, my regulator decided to work properly shortly after Jimmy departed with the train." "You mean—" "Oh, no," exclaimed Arthur. "You don't think I purposefully made myself a failed engine so Jimmy was in charge of an express train?" Terry grinned. Arthur winked at the standard. "Our little secret," he said. Terry happily agreed.
Oh, hello guys. You made it to the end of the video. Yay! Oh, shut up. Or, wait. I should not say. Oh, quiet, Billy. Oh, Oh, be quiet, Jim. My name is Tim. My name is Jim. We're the Crash Buffers. These are our houses. Well, after I crashed into the barber's house, it became mine. I own it, and because I'm truly over there, I just use a scrap meaning or whatever that means. Yes, we want to thank you, and as a disclaimer, this was based off of that series called Jimmy the Gentee. Also, the video I think will be in description. Please, Jack, you please actually put them in the video as a description. Jeez, buddy. Okay, fine. Jeez, I'll go work on it now. God. That always gets them all the time. We are the twin brothers that we crashed into houses. And this is Big Boy 4014 Productions. We're out. What?